Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. I think deep down he knew he made a mistake about the drink, but wasn't man enough to admit that he was wrong. Should have spent the $2 to replace the drink, Robbie. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Buy a new one or go home. I used to work at Sonic as a car hop. I usually worked 4 to 5 to close. One day, I was cleaning up all the drinks the day shift left around, and I found a can of Monster. I grabbed it and walked around and asked everybody who was working. The manager, Robert, like normal, was talking to his girlfriend on the phone, assuming based on all the sex talk. When I asked if it was his, he looked right at me, shook his head, and turned away without saying anything. After I finished asking everybody else, I dumped it out and threw it away. 30 to 45 minutes later, he comes up front and went to throw away his trash, and seen it in the trash. He was livid. Started screaming, grabbed it out of the trash, and started shoving it in people's face, asking if they threw it away. I told him they didn't, I did. He cornered me against the wall and screamed in my face that I was going to leave and go buy him a new one. Two things. The Monster was probably half full, if that, and I hate being yelled at, and I asked him. We got into this huge fight about it, him demanding I replace it, me telling him to F off. This went on for 2 hours. It was slow because it was winter, so he sent everybody else home. He was cooking. Finally, he told me I was either going to buy a new one or I was going to go home. It was 7 at this point. We closed at midnight. I grabbed my stuff and went and clocked out. He said if I didn't go get him a new drink, I was fired. I said, okay, see you never. Not even 5 minutes after I left, the GM, Jeremy, called me asking why I left, so I told him what happened. He said the other manager can't fire me as only the GM can and asked me to go back and finish the shift. I told him that I couldn't do that with Robert yelling in my face like that I'd go back tomorrow. So Robert was effed for the rest of the night. Nobody else, not even Jeremy, would come in. He had to cook and run orders for 5 hours by himself. Pissed off a lot of customers. And when I went into the next shift, he asked why I was back since he fired me, and it was a joy to tell him he couldn't do that. That guy sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. If you scream in someone's face for 2 hours over such a stupid reason, what are you going to do next? Probably assault someone. He held a grudge for 3 whole months. And our second story. Won't fix your buggy software that costs us thousands of dollars per year? Fine, pay our bills then. I am the AV supervisor for a large company that hosts events. Specifically, I look after quotes for the technical side of corporate events, giving clients access to projectors, microphones, speakers, etc., for their large corporate presentations, meetings, and whatnot. I also manage and brief the floor crew who actively run the events. We use a program to book our equipment, which, while powerful, is a bit laggy on the average computer and is also extremely expensive per year, about $2,000 per user per year, and there's about 30 of us in the company that use it. Relative to how much our company makes per year, it's a pretty hefty cost. It's a good program when leveraged properly, but sometimes it can drive you mad with its weird way of doing things. One important feature of the program is that it tracks the booking of all equipment everywhere, including time for packing it into a room and packing it out of the room. This is useful because it prevents our team from overbooking equipment. If it's not available, the system won't let you book it. There's no way around that. If I'm short on equipment, I can book extra equipment from another rental company and on-charge that to the client when I know in advance that I need to do that. Anyway, cue big presentation from the booking company showing their latest version of the booking software. It's great. It's faster. It's better than ever. We have a busy week coming up, and I'm flat out floored with paperwork, pulling a 60-hour week. Our company is fantastic with overtime. We don't get overtime pay, but we do get time in lieu. Our bosses are totally cool about it, so if I work 1 hour overtime, I get 1 hour off the following week. Do a 60-hour week, you get 20 hours off later. Anyway, one of my floor crew comes to me. Floor crew, hey OP, this equipment isn't available. We've already got it out on another event. Me, what? It should be available. Floor crew, nope, it's definitely not. I just set it up for another event 2 hours ago, and that event's running for 3 days. Cue me running back to my desk and rechecking all my paperwork. FYI, equipment lists going out for events is often over 100 lines long, hence why we don't do manual checks for overbookings. The system should do it. As it turns out, all our equipment was overbooked multiple times, in many cases overbooked on 3 events or more. I make multiple phone calls to rental companies and bring in rental equipment on short notice. That's expensive, and I can't charge it to the client on such short notice. If you took our expected profits for that week, you could add a negative symbol onto the front, and that'd be our new profit. I log a job with the company that makes our booking software, then proceed to double-check all our upcoming events. Oh boy, a lot of overbooked equipment. Note, these events are often independently created by multiple people at different times of the year. There's no way they themselves would check if the equipment was available. It's just not feasible. Hence why we rely on the system that up until now worked. The booking software company is extremely dismissive, saying that it's a rare glitch and that they'd look into it. Cue 1 month later and still no fix. I'm now spending significantly more time double-checking all our events for overbooking. The booking software company still doesn't care about a smallish company like us. Frustrated, I ask my boss for a copy of our service agreement with the company. He's as annoyed with the situation as I am, so we go through it together. Turns out there's a clause in there saying that the booking company would provide compensation in the event of a total system failure, in the event that the system can't even be accessed. Well, we definitely call this a system failure, of sorts. Its failure is costing us a lot of money, so we send the bills of all our rentals that cover overbookings to the booking software company. That gets their attention quickly when the total bill amounts to more than triple how much they make off of us each year. Booking software company. Hey, OP, what's with these bills? Me. Here's the job reference you still haven't responded to after 2 months now, and here's the link between each rental and each event that's overbooked. Booking software company. There's no way the system is letting you overbook equipment, and you can't send the bills to us for every event that's overbooked. Me. Share screen. All right, let's test it. The booking software company shares their screen as well, logging into our version of the booking system. They proceed to book some equipment that should 100% not be available. True to their word, the system doesn't let them do it. I then book the exact same equipment on the exact same event, but from my computer, my boss's witness, the system lets me do it without any alarm. This surprises them, and they start talking about potential fixes. They also say they're willing to pay for the rentals up until now. 2 months later, we're still billing them for every rented equipment. They're still paying without questioning, and we still don't have a fix. Was just going to say this. Roll back and let them sort the crap out. Even with you passing the invoices, etc. on, this has taken up your time with reconciling, forwarding the invoices to them, making sure they paid, etc. You aren't profiting from this. You're merely hurting their profits and increasing the resourcing required to do the same work. I'd push for a full rollback and refund of this year's cost, to be honest. And our last story. Overrule HOA president. I live in Chicago in a 50-unit condominium with 6 floors. The president makes awful decisions and the board members follow him like a lost puppy. I recently found out that the only plumbers he'll let into the building are a family relative that has no business at all. I can't even find if he has licenses or bonds. But he's the only one allowed to do repairs. I say repairs because in the last 3 years, I've not seen this person or crew do any work for our building. We've had multiple pipe bursts causing damage from the 6th floor to the 1st floor. This happened to the unit across the hall from the president, so he got no damage but can hear it, and the owner across the hall doesn't reside in his unit, so it's empty. And instead of shutting the water off, he let it continue to leak for over 6 hours. This was not just a leak. It sounded like an open fire hydrant. Another incident is the boiler on the roof level started leaking hot water in the boiler room. Again, like a fire hydrant. Instead of finding some solution, he let the homeowners contact the property management. I'll say the property management dropped the ball on this incident, but the president called after 3 days of water leaking and got it repaired that day. There's one other company he's let touch the water pipes, which has asked me for a bucket to put under a leaking pipe in the ceiling, and I never got it back. So, 2 very questionable plumbing companies. Regardless of the plumbing, we've ran into the red for our reserves, and he refuses to acknowledge it. Side note, the property management does communicate with him. He just says he never gets the emails, but every board member's on the email and can see he's included. When he emails the management company, he includes retired people and old employees. I'm looking for some sort of advice or how to handle the president. I try to sell, but if anyone asks how our reserves look or see the exposed pipes and damages in common areas from water, I don't think I'd have much luck selling. Edit/update. Meeting went better than I thought. I suggested a special assessment and the board agreed. We'll have a special meeting February 1st to discuss the boilers being replaced and the special assessment. The president said he no longer wants this position, and we have an election coming up next month. Unrelated to him saying that, just perfect timing. I did ask for the plumbing relatives bonds and Illinois plumbing license, and he was very sure I would get those documents, which sounded too cocky to be true. I just hope we can come back from all the damages this president caused. Edit/update. After speaking up at the meeting, the Treasury is starting to look at invoices. I think it's too late for that. I've done more these past 2 weeks by digging into the finances and verifying vendors and scheduling insurance inspections than anyone on the board has done in the past year and a half. I'll be running for president and focusing on repairing all the pipes and picking up all the pieces from the negligence. I even offered to mow the lawn since we can't afford landscapers. These people are unbelievable. Edit/update 6 months later. Haven't been able to dig into the finances due to not being able to get really any information. I took over the president's spot and got things going to get a new property management company, and they start March 1st. The plumber that was related to the last president no longer wants to work with us after I asked him to give us a quote, and he still couldn't provide credentials. My hopes are to meet with the new company and go over my concerns that I share with some other board members and how we can get this place back together. I'm hoping I can get things in the work at least set up for the next year. It hasn't been easy, and it didn't happen in a day. I'm hoping the new management company and maybe some new board members at the next election can really get us going somewhere. Great job, OP. The best way to solve the HOA problem is to become president and take matters into your own hands. Great job, OP. The best way to solve the HOA problem is to become president and take matters into your own hands. An HOA is not something you disclose as a seller. It's something the buyer should investigate or ideally avoid entirely. But many will not and purchase the unit. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.